At precisely 3:33 a.m., a burst of static tore through every police radio in 3 counties, overriding all other transmissions. Dispatchers jolted awake in sleepy stations. Officers slammed on brakes mid-patrol. Radios screeched like a creature trying to remember how to scream. Then, a voice cut through, ragged, breathless, shaking with something that wasn't quite fear, but something older, something deeper. "This is Ranger Cole Mitchell. Something's wrong with the trail crew at Deadman Switchback. They're—" A wet, crunching noise interrupted him. Not static, not interference. It sounded organic, like something biting into soaked wood or grinding through cartilage. Then silence. When the voice returned, it had changed. Lower, stretched too tight. There was something in it that wasn't human, something trying to be. "Oh God, they're dancing." The transmission ended with a high-pitched whine, the kind old radios make before lightning strikes, just before the world remembers it's flammable. By dawn, search teams reached the high-altitude pass, known as Deadman Switchback. Locals warned them not to go. The oldest among them just shook their heads and whispered about things that never stopped moving, even after they died. The scene they found was wrong. The kind of wrong that doesn't scream, doesn't bleed, it just waits. The campsite was immaculate, too immaculate. 7 backpacks stood upright in a perfect line, spaced evenly as if measured. Each zipper closed, every buckle fastened. The fire pit was cold, yet the logs beside it were still smouldering, releasing a sweet, cloying scent, like burnt sugar and rotting meat. A camera lay on a nearby log, its red recording light still blinking. The lens was shattered from the inside, shards pushed outward, as though something had crawled out. The footage was recovered. It showed the hikers, 7 college students on a summer conservation project, laughing, eating, telling ghost stories. Then, at midnight, they froze. All at once, mid-laugh, mid-sentence, mid-breath. Then they stood, unison. No signal, no hesitation. Their movements were wrong, marionette-like, limbs jerking at dislocated angles. Spines cracked like dry branches as their bodies bent backward, heads snapping toward the sky. Their mouths opened too wide, revealing bloodied gums and teeth they hadn't had hours before. In the background, just beyond the reach of the firelight, something was clapping. Slowly, deliberately. A rhythm that grew louder each time a body twitched. Like an audience, like a conductor. The video cut to static at exactly 3:33 a.m. The bodies weren't found at the campsite. Searchers discovered them a mile away, deep in a ravine that didn't exist on any topographic map. They were submerged beneath a thin layer of thick, syrupy liquid that shimmered with an oily rainbow sheen. It smelled like birthday cake left to rot in the sun. The surface rippled, not from wind, but as though something beneath were breathing. The bodies had been arranged, intentionally. Their limbs were woven together like basketry, faces pressed cheek to cheek, mouths locked in grotesque, grinning kisses. Their eyes were open, pupils dilated, irises faded to an impossible shade of blue. Not sky blue, but corpse blue. Each one had 33 teeth, none of them human. X-rays showed the molars had erupted after death, jagged, pearlescent things like fishhooks. Their stomachs were full, not of food, but of live moths. The insects fluttered in unison, wings twitching in choreographed pulses. A linguist who reviewed the footage of their movement grew pale and asked to be excused. Later, in his report, he claimed the moths were spelling words, Come join dance, one hiker survived. 47 days later, Emma Reyes stumbled into a gas station 30 miles from the trailhead. Her hair was matted with twigs and old blood. Her hiking boots had fused to her feet. The leather had grown into her flesh, like roots wrapping around bone. Her pupils were fully black, swallowing the whites, blinking only once every few minutes. She held a mason jar filled with teeth. They rattled even when she wasn't moving, tapping in patterns later confirmed as Morse code for one phrase: "It's watching." Her parka, when cut open, was found to be lined with human lung tissue, still moist, still expanding faintly as if breathing. When questioned, Emma giggled, not a nervous laugh, but a sound too high, too clean, as if it had been spliced into her. "The mountain needs to breathe too," she said. "We were just the lungs." She never spoke again. But every night in the hospital, cameras recorded her sitting upright in bed, staring at the ceiling with a look of utter reverence. On the third night, at 3:33 a.m., the walls of her room began to pulse. Slowly, then faster. The drywall expanded and contracted, as though gripped by an enormous, invisible hand. The lights dimmed, then bloomed blood red. The last frame before the cameras cut out showed Emma smiling at the ceiling, and something smiling back. Teeth. Too many teeth. The park was closed for a year. Then it reopened. No announcement, no press release, just a quiet change on the official map. Deadman's Switchback now marked as accessible. Visitors report strange phenomena: compasses spinning counterclockwise, frost forming in perfect spirals even in summer, the smell of vanilla frosting rising from dry creek beds. Whispers echo through the trees, not words, but numbers, spoken backward, always counting down. Sometimes hikers vanish for hours, only to reappear with no memory, mud covering their eyes, socks filled with moth wings. Some are found dancing in silence at dusk, arms limp, feet moving in perfect rhythm. And if you're unlucky enough to be alone when the wind dies, stand still, listen. You might hear it, the sound of clapping, closer, slower, hungrier, waiting for you to dance.